They are all against me. They all must die.
Hi guys, it's Calvin and welcome to another episode of The Roaming Recess, where this week we're going to be talking about the greatest horror game moments. According to me, I'm sure a lot of you kind of agree with these moments, but just me in general, this is what I think are the greatest horror game moments of all time that I've played. There's probably games out there that people are probably like, why isn't that on your list? Well, it's probably because I haven't played it, or I just didn't think it was that scary. Basically, the moments that I'm talking about here are not going to be in list form. Don't worry, this is not no watchmojo.com type thing. What I'm actually going to be talking about is not like going to be a list. It's actually going to be just talking about why these things actually scared me. Why they actually terrified me as a child, and why they actually put me off playing some of these games. And a few of these games actually got banned in my house. Not because my mother thought, no, you're not allowed to play these games. Because she genuinely just didn't like the fact that, like, the first thing I did when I turned on one of these games, that's gonna be one of the things I talk about, is I played it and she heard roars of terror coming from my house. She was like, okay, look, you can play Grand Theft Auto, you can play all these games I let you play, just this one, let's not play that ever again. Widely regarded as one of the greatest horror series of all time, Silent Hill has surely terrified me in the past. It's made me think, and it's actually haunted me for many years. Playing Silent Hill 2 when I was younger was something that I didn't really understand. I played it again when I was a little bit older, still didn't really understand all the themes that were in the game. Replaying it when I was 20 years old was one of the most terrifying experiences that I could actually ask for, because I actually understood everything. I understood all the references, I understood what it actually meant. You know, there's certain things that people will interpret it as, you know, the people who interpret it as different things. But me, myself, I interpret it in such a way. I'm not going to go into that right now because I feel like with the current state of the internet, you have to put trigger warnings on everything before you actually say it. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to actually go into that part. But Silent Hill 1 in general, playing that game for the first time when I was younger, I was, you know, the first part of that game when you're in the car crash. And by the way, if you want any spoilers for these moments, there are going to be lots of spoilers, like a shit ton of spoilers. You are looking for your daughter Cheryl, and Cheryl actually you see a silhouette of Cheryl as you get out of your car. You keep running down this laneway, it auto runs for you at one point. You get down the laneway, you see a carcass, a bloody carcass just on the ground, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And you as a video gamer right now are just actually going, what the fuck is this as well? You keep going down that laneway, this is important, you walk through a door, you go through a gate. Yeah, you go through a fucking gate and you see this corpse like hanging, I believe. I believe it's either hanging, it's on the floor. I might think of a completely different game. No, you see a corpse, that's what you see, of some kind of monster or human or child. And that's when you turn around and out of the shadows comes these little babies. These little babies. And now you're probably thinking, oh Calvin, what's so scary about babies? You know, and it's not just about them crying in restaurants. The scariest fucking thing about them in this game is that they have knives. They have barely any features on their face. Their only choice, or their only like reason to live, is to murder you. They come out of the shadows and start stabbing you. They hook onto you, trying to cut you open, and you have to run away from it. And now all of this is terrifying me as a child. All of this is terrifying me as an adult. But the scariest part of that, with this whole thing, is that when you try to leave, the gate is not opening. Who locked the gate? Was it demons? Was it Santa Claus? Who locked it? Nobody knows. But that moment for me was just such a scary thing as a child, and growing up, like, cause you know, seeing a corpse, you know, that's scary. Little children coming out of the shadows, that's fucking terrifying. But the scariest thing about it all is that someone locked that gate. That was one of those moments when I was playing that game where I was like, this world is trying to motherfucking kill me. Like, everyone's out to get me, not just these little babies. This whole world's out to kill me. There was no jump scare. There was no violin mix-up thing. You know, there was that's not a violin. What was that? So sticking with Silent Hill 2. By the way, there are a lot of scarier moments in Silent Hill 1, but I just don't want to just dwell too much on one game. But Silent Hill 2, being one of the more terrifying series or terrifying games of all time, really has more of an impression on people nowadays, not for its terror or its horror, but for its level design and story. And that's completely fine. I'm not going to say anything about that, because honest to God, that story haunts me to this day. You know, thinking about everything that happens in the game. Again, it's spoilers in store. I'm not gonna go too far into the story. But you play as a guy named James Sunderland. Believe it or not, one of the most likable characters in the history of video games, because the best thing that a video game character can do, especially when you're in a horror experience like this, is not to go like, oh, whatever, this is just a horror place or whatever, like, I'll just go here through here being a badass. The best thing, I just realized I wasn't centered, guys, sorry. But the best thing that a horror protagonist can do in this situation is not to be like, I'm a badass. Is to say the same things you're saying, like, what the fuck is happening here? You know, why are you eating pizza? Why are you eating pizza when everything's going damn shit around you? Mary, like, you know, what's... Laura, just fucking tell me what the fucking note says off me wife. Just tell me, you know, you're not Maria, you know? That type of shit, you know? Just the scary fucking things. You grow attached to characters, you go, you know, you fall in love with characters. But one of the scariest moments in that video game that I will never forget until the end of my goddamn life is walking down the hallway in the hotel and seeing Pyramid Head standing through the gates, looking at me like this, jittering a bit, you know, doing this shit. And for a brief moment, the first thing that you do is just kind of stare at it. You're like, whoa, what the fuck is that? And like when you realize, like, you know, when you realize that this thing isn't friendly later on in the game, it's a little bit more terrifying. But just seeing this creature with this pyramid head just looking at you like this. Of course, later on in the video, they call him the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman. That's terrifying, isn't it? The Boogeyman. That's scary. That wasn't from the 80s. That's fucking terrifying. The Boogeyman. Oh my god, man. That name is overused now. Like, it was so terrifying back. You know, when you heard about the Boogeyman when you were a child. Now, when you hear about the Boogeyman, like, you think of someone picking their nose and wiping it on you. You know. Oh, mom, that's the Boogeyman. Yeah, stay away, honey. Stay away. There's lots of scary moments in Silent Hill 2. A lot of really creepy and terrifying moments. There's too many probably to actually pick from to make a full list. Of course, you could do a top 10 scariest moments in Silent Hill, but to be honest, it wouldn't actually be as it wouldn't be as refined as I would want it to be doing it right now, because I'm not prepared. I'm not going to name out 10 great moments. That's just one of the moments I'm going to name out from Silent Hill 2 that really terrified me. Siren Blood Curse was one of those games that flew under my radar for so many goddamn years, like so many years. It was a game that I just never thought I'd ever play, and then ultimately it was one Christmas. I think I was a little bit younger. I think I was around 17, 18, and someone handed me, you know, €20, being like, "Oh, Merry Christmas, Calvin," you know, and I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah, €20." I went down to the shop to GameStop, and in this like blank case. In fact, in this exact case, written on it was Siren Blood Curse. No case whatsoever. Just this was the game. Which, like, you know, you don't really, no one really buys those ones because it's like, oh, I kind of want the case too. But something about this name, literally just the name, Siren Blood Curse, was like, what the fuck is this? I want to buy this game, and I paid €20 for it. And little did I know this game was going to become one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. But the scary moment that I'm really going to talk about here is a moment that happens quite a lot throughout the game, but still always affects me. In this game, there's a thing called sightjacking. Sightjacking is a thing where you actually see through other people's eyes. You can press a button and you actually see through, like, different creatures' eyes. The creatures in this game that are trying to kill you are called Shibitos. The Shibitos in the game, you can see, when you see through their eyes, you can either see, say, they're doing a little thing. You can solve puzzles with it, like, say, the mission is find the lever and pull it, and you can see one of the Shibitos is looking right at the lever. So you're like, okay, I know where this guy is. I know where he's looking at through the window. I know exactly where it is. But one of the scarier moments in Siren Blood Curse is early on in the game. Like, I remember it clearly because I was going through water. I was wandering through water, and then I sightjacked one of the creatures, and all I could see was, like, the back of my own character's head, and I was like, no. Like, no. I, like, completely got out of the mode and ran. I did die at that point, but it's just one of those moments, like, seeing yourself through a monster's eyes would be one of the scariest things ever, and I could not actually, like, go through that shit, like, never in real life. No, 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 no. So a lot of people are going to say, Calvin, you're just putting an indie game on the list because you have to. Wrong. I'm putting 2 indie games on the list because I have to. I played Quartz Party like a couple of months back, and there's not that many scary, like terrifying, like oh moments in the game, but there are moments of like sheer, like, you know, just thrill and excitement that do scare me in different ways. One of those moments is the Yucca chase. When there's like, oh, I forget, I'm blanking on the name, you know, the guy that chases after going Yucca. It's one of the most terrifying voices and funniest voices at the same time. But like you're getting chased by him through this whole school, and you're like trying to avoid him. You're going up the wrong corridors. You vaguely remember this area, like, but you don't remember it fully. It's just one of those scarier moments. And the second game I want to talk to in terms of an indie game is SCP Containment Breach. SCP Containment Breach actually scared me for a number of different reasons. But this, like, the jump scares after a while, it's just like, okay, I get it. But if anyone actually remembers the name of that creature, because I don't, the name of the creature that would cover its face like this, and like, if you would look at it, it would stand up and then chase after you. I don't remember the exact name, but that thing terrified me. Some nights, you know, not being able to sleep would have been probably the thing I'm trying to talk about. It was one of the most, oh god, I'm not centered again! It was one of the more terrifying things in video games, that creature, and I think indie games are much stronger because of that game. So the horror franchise that I generally believe to be the best horror franchise of all time, Resident Evil. And a lot of people are going to say, well, Silent Hill is better because it has a higher percentage of better games. Fucking wrong. Okay, fucking wrong. Let's talk about this. Let's fucking do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is okay. Code Veronica's awesome. Revelations 1 is cool. Revelations 2 is really fucking good. Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 4? And then what? Guys, I'm just joking, okay? Like, they're both great horror franchises. I just love Resident Evil more. I do love it's like Silent Hill 2 is in my top 10 favorite games of all time. So there are a few moments in Resident Evil that actually, you know, scare me, you know, like, and actually shake me up and actually make me shake. There's not many other horror games that can do it. In fact, not one, like, horror game has shook me up as much as Resident Evil has. The moments I'm talking about in general are like, not stuff like the dog breaking through the window, because that's scary, I know. It's terrifying the first time it happens. Not stuff like the zombie turning its head around, you know, the iconic thing that happens in the, you know, in the start of it, you know. Not the dialogue like Jill the Master of Unlocking and Jill Sandwich. Not that type of stuff, you know what I mean? The things that scared me from the first game were like the spiders. When you first entered that room in like the clubhouse, the like secret area you go to, and the spider is like crawling down above your head, and like you're like, oh, what's this room? And then all of a sudden you see a spider, like, and it's not a little spider, it's like a big gigantic fucking spider. And those spiders terrifying me so freaking much. I think I have a few videos on my channel of me being terrified of spiders. Spiders just and me just do not mix. I think if you saw even Wind Waker, me playing, like, fighting these spiders, it was not good for me. I was absolutely fucking terrified. A lot of people might argue that Resident Evil 2 actually innovated the whole concept of horror. The level design in that game is actually like kind of second to none in most games. I think the only game that I actually think that could nearly beat it would be probably the Dark Souls series in terms of level design. But nearly, I'm saying barely. I'm not saying it did beat it, I'm saying it could beat it if it was put up against it maybe. But like Resident Evil 2's level design is just off the chart, just like Resident Evil 1 is and Resident Evil 3 is, and Resident Evil 4 is as well. But Resident Evil 2, Mr. X is, oh my god, the fact that he can burst through any wall at any time and just, it's random and can actually, like, you know, start attacking you, and like it's 2 hits you're dead, you know, it's basically 2 hits you're dead. One, and if he does that one shot to your head, you're gone. It's gone. Actually, I think I did that wrong. This is one, you know, this is not a one-shot kill, but this right here, the double axe handle, is a one-hit kill. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Mr. X is too terrifying to even like realize how scary he is, but like I do recommend playing Resident Evil 2 just for Mr. X. And of course Resident Evil 3 has its scary moments as well. In fact, it has a whole fucking scary game. You're playing as Jill Valentine in Resident Evil 3, and this time you're trying to leave stars, but there's this thing called Nemesis which doesn't want you to leave stars, and basically you will hear him say stars, and then like he will, like, that was a terrible impression, and he will like run through the corridors of a building or run after you. And the thing is, you know in horror games when you leave a room and the zombie stays in the other room, He doesn't. He like opens the door, runs straight after you. He doesn't stay in that room. He will chase after you to the ends of the earth if he has to. Nemesis will fucking murder you, and that's what's terrifying about it. There's no fucking like just run away. You can't fight back. You can fight back, and that's what's scary. Should I fight back? Shouldn't I fight back? Nemesis is fucking terrifying. And to end this whole horror themed thing, I actually want to give some props to a game that really doesn't get enough credit for being one of the most amazing horror games I've ever played, and that's Evil Within. You know, the Evil Within brought back the dark corridors, the scary hallways, the monsters that like you don't think you can defeat but eventually you do. The protagonist that is, it doesn't have much to him but eventually you fall in love with him anyway. It really did bring back the elements of survival horror, like limited ammo and like limited resources and like 2-hit kills. It really did bring me back to like the 90s era of horror games, and the early 2000 era of horror games. It really deserves a lot of credit for that. And one of the most terrifying parts of that game is Ruvik's mansion. I don't know if any of you have actually been in Ruvik's mansion, but Ruvik is this character, like the main antagonist of the game. But there's this part in the game where like there's 3 times he appears, but it's random if he appears or not. He will appear to you 3 times though. That is a general thing. I've played that game a few times now, and he does appear to you 3 times. He'll appear and he'll like come towards you, but the thing is you have to make sure you're in a space that you can actually get out. If you're not, you're fucked, and it's actually too scary to actually fucking play.
I've played the game a few times now, and it's actually too scary to actually fucking play.
So guys, that's all we have to really talk about today with the horror game moments. Some of my favorite moments. You please tell me what you think are the scariest moments in horror games for you. And like, I'm not gonna laugh if you think that they're too childish, or if you thought that like maybe you shouldn't have been afraid of a moment. There's parts in the game called Firewatch that actually absolutely terrified me that I didn't talk about. Maybe I should have put on the list. There's parts in Firewatch where like this crazy maniac hits you with a rock. Let's put it on an honorary mention, a Watch Mojo honorary mention, you know what I mean? Deserves to be on the list no matter what. I just think it's actually too scary because that's too real. It's too real, an actual scary like person coming after you in the forest, because that can happen. That's real, it's too real. So in terms of what I've been doing this week, I've just been going to college, just been doing stuff like that. I've also been replaying Dark Souls 2, really weirdly enough. I created my characters for Dark Souls 3 for the DLC. Which, even though it's Halloween month, I might do a few videos on it. I'll probably, it'll probably lead into November, but it's scary enough, right, Dark Souls? But I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls 2. I've actually created a character on it right now, and I realize how long that game is. It's way longer than any other of the games, if you include all the DLC. There's so many bosses, so much things to do in that game. But yeah, that's all I've been pretty much doing this week. Halloween month, I guess, is what I've been doing, but that's more what we're going to talk about next in the channel section. So in terms of what we're talking about with the channel, I'm so happy that Halloween month is here. It's probably a thing I'll do every year just because it's so much fun. And especially when there's like no games coming out in October until like the 25th. It's so much fun just to play a bunch of horror games. Mad Father, a game I probably never would have played unless it was this month. Misa, which is another game that I have lined up. A few games like Creepypasta Land and a few indie horror games that a lot of you have suggested as well are also lining up to be played. I'm pretty excited to finish out this month. This month is going to be pretty cool. There's going to be a lot of gameplay stuff. Of course, it's going to be one of these videos every week, hopefully. And in terms of the future, I think, yeah, stuff like Misa, there's a Simpsons game I want to play. I want to play Skyrim Remastered, even for like a couple of missions, maybe some, some random missions, not just the main story, because I feel like that would take too long. And Dark Souls is coming out pretty soon as well. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got to say when I'm talking about the channel. I'm sorry there's not much more to talk about. I'm trying to stream, I guess I could talk about that. I'm trying to stream. I've set up a few streams and I've tested them out, and they look pretty good. They sound pretty good, so that might happen in the future. I'll keep you posted on that. You'll probably get a video on it before anything happens. So that's it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching this episode. It's probably very long. In fact, I think it's probably too long. But I'll see you guys very soon, and hope you have a good October.